Welcome to No Longer Conformed. I'm Erik Garthe, and we are studying Praising God, Bible bits from Psalms. In this session, we'll be looking at Psalm 50, verses 16 to 21, Thinking Right About God. This session is based on the book, The Knowledge of the Holy by A.W. Tozer. Just some bits from his book. Let's read our text, Psalm 50, verses 16 to 21. But to the wicked, God says, "What right have you to declare my statutes or take my covenant in your mouth? Seeing you hate instruction and cast my words behind you. When you saw a thief, you consented with him and have been a partaker with adulterers. You give your mouth to evil and your tongue frames deceit. You sit and speak against your brother. You slander your own mother's son. These things you've done, and I kept silent. You thought that I was altogether like you, but I will rebuke you and set them in order before your eyes." No people have ever risen above its religion, and no religion has ever been greater than its idea of God. This is critical. What man conceives in his deepest heart about what God is like. Why is this critical? Well, human nature has shown that we tend to move toward our image of God. So, what comes into your mind when you think about God? The answer to that question is crucially important. A right concept of God is critical to our theology and to practical Christian living. A proper foundation is the basis of a building being correctly established. If it stands inadequate, it falls. The main issues are these: that God is, what God is like, and what we must do about God. A right belief about God will ease the burdens of life and increase the burden of eternity. Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, Jesus tells us, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus promises rest for our soul from sin and a fresh burden for eternity. Love God with all our being, obey him perfectly, and worship him acceptably. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 6. Love him with all our being. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart." We're to obey him perfectly. John chapter 14 and verse 15. "If you love me, keep my commandments." And then we are to worship him acceptably. John chapter 4, verses 23 and 24, when he's speaking with that Samaritan woman by Jacob's well. "But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship him. For God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." A right view of God brings a conviction of sin. A wrong view of God destroys the gospel message. Proverbs chapter 7, verses 14 and 15. "I have peace offerings with me. Today I have paid my vows, so I came out to meet you. Diligently I seek your face, and I have found you. Listen, that woman who was sent you as a prostitute was confused. God must not be conceived in the hearts of sinful mankind, but from his inspired revelation, his word. Just read again our text for this session, Proverbs 50, verses 16 to 21, and see the detailed condition of a wrong view of God. But to the wicked, God says, what right have you to declare my statutes or take my covenant in your mouth, seeing that you hate instruction and cast my words behind you? When you saw a thief, you consented with him and have been a partaker with adulterers. You give your mouth to evil and your tongue frames deceit. You sit and speak against your mother. You slander your own mother's son. These things you've done, and I kept silent. You thought that I was altogether like you, but I will rebuke you and set them in order before you. Listen, the church is no different today. We chase our desires. We throw token gifts to God. We assume he doesn't mind. Romans chapter 1 and verse 21. Look at it and notice that the problem begins in the mind. Romans 1:21. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. We imagine things about God, and then we believe our imaginations are right. The first step down for any church is to surrender its high opinion of God. Look at what a high view of God looks like in Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one cried to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, and the whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. So I said, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar. And he touched my mouth with it and said, Behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And then I said, Here am I, send me. The obligation of the church today is to purify and elevate its view of God until it is worthy of him. Gain wisdom and understanding. Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. You think about that, and you have a great day.